The magic is back again. Again. 6 years after the blockbuster success of Lethal Weapon 3, Warner Bros. Reunited all the franchise mainstays for a fourth and final installment of the beloved series. Richard Donner is back in the director's chair, from a script by television writer Channing Gibson, centered around Chinese gangsters and a mysterious triad assassin. The entire Murtaugh family is back, as are the supporting characters of Leo Getz and Lorna Cole, played respectively by Joe Pesci and Rene Russo. Danny Glover's Murtaugh seems to be aging like Benjamin Button, and although Mel Gibson's Riggs has abandoned his mullet and cowboy boots, he's still the same dangerous sociopath we've come to know and cringe at. New additions to the cast include Chris Rock as Detective Butters, and Jet Li making his US debut as Hua Sing-ku, the primary antagonist. Despite having some of the biggest action set pieces in the franchise and a star-making turn from Li, critical reception was cold, with most critics accusing the film of just going through the motions. The most expensive film of the franchise, with an estimated budget close to $150 million, Lethal Weapon 4 only returned a modest profit. The relative success of the buddy cop comedy Rush Hour a few months later seemed to be the final nail in the coffin for the Lethal Weapon series, proving once and for all that it was finally too old for this shit. But that was 1998, and this is now. Colin, Harris, and I are interested to see how this movie holds up today. Is it the low point of the franchise, or a hidden gem? So put down that trashy Ebony Clark novel, strap on your flamethrower, and brace yourself for some casual racism, because today we're talking about the final entry in the Lethal Weapon franchise, the 1998 Richard Donner classic, Lethal Weapon 4. This is a show about franchises, action movie franchises. You're listening to License to Watch.
Why in the world was this movie made?
Anyways, The Weeknd, he has a new video, his latest video that came out the 5th or something like that. He has like a ton of fake plastic surgery, and he's been making public appearances with like bandages and like busted up face and stuff like that. So he's kind of like really committed to faking this plastic surgery, and it is intensely disturbing what he looks like.
I've seen the photo. I haven't seen the video.
All right. Well, yeah.
Are we looking this up now? Because now I have to see it.
Yeah, look at the photo and try to sleep later tonight.
Oh, but it's fake.
Am I the only one who thinks he looks good? He's
you are the only one.
He's got a little like Down syndrome Lionel Richie thing going on that I think is actually kind of it's working for him.
Why do you think?
But wait,
that's working?
you're saying this is a stunt? This is fake.
Yeah, I had to research it. I had to look it up because I was so terrified that he actually did that to himself. I was like, no, it can't be. And
but
then,
those cheekbones, though.
Yeah.
I can't believe you would come out in support of this, Harris.
Well, I feel like as somebody who loves the movie Dick Tracy and feels like people should look more like that in real life, I support this. Support this entirely.
This is all for the reboot of Dick Tracy.
Oh, hell yeah. He's like villain number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lump face.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. This is our last Lethal Weapon episode. There is only 4 Lethal Weapon movies. Sadly, there's not
so far
12. Yeah, so far. Richard Donner is 90-something, and he still keeps saying he's going to make the 5th one, despite Mel Gibson being lambasted from Hollywood. They're definitely too old for this shit now.
Well, they did 5 and 6 on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's true.
That's right.
True. We should have watched those as bonus episodes.
That voice you hear is our very special guest joining us for this episode, live from the East Coast, Mr. Tim Kozlenko.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
AKA Tim Got Rhymes.
Yeah, that too.
Tim Got
Can I
Rhymes.
just say that your theme song slaps? It's really good.
It fucking slaps.
It is good.
Also, Me and Shelby, we're the first couple that's been on the show, right? I assume.
Oh, yeah, that's
well,
probably true,
you
right?
assumed wrong.
No, that's wrong. Wait, no, that is right. That's right.
Yeah,
That is right, because Kyle Quigley has not been on our show and never will be. You hear that, Kyle?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Fuck you, Kyle.
I knew. See, I knew Jenna Quigley and Kyle Quigley were an item, and
Colin was just
I
confused
forgot
because he
that
wasn't
Kyle
sure if they
has
were
not-
husband and wife or brother and sister.
That was
They're
not.
both. Have you ever met them? They're both.
I'm pretty sure I've met Kyle, but I can't remember how or why or when.
Exactly. Tim, of course, is the creator of our beautiful theme song and all its variants. We've had a couple of different iterations over the years. Among other music pieces that you've done for us in the past. This is a bit of a music. Last week we had Chris Morocco, who does music for us. He does the remixes, or most of the remixes. Tim's done a few. This is sort of an ode to the musicians in our lives. So, Tim, welcome.
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
What did you think of Lethal Weapon 4?
Well, it wasn't my first time seeing it. This was
Are you a weapon head? You're a Lethal Weapon head?
No, I would not consider myself a weapon head. But this came out in like '98, and that was like peak time for, mom bringing me to the theater and buying a ticket for an R-rated movie, and then like me and a friend seeing it. So there was like, there was Blade and like Face Off and South Park, I think, and then this is definitely one I saw. And funny enough, it was the first Lethal Weapon I ever saw. Even though I was kind of,
Same
I was
here.
aware of the franchise for sure, but and as a 13-year-old, I thought it was hilarious. I did not think that now, but
I feel like that's that's a story for most people. I am a couple of years older, so I grew up. I remember watching Lethal Weapon and Lethal Weapon 2 with my dad when I was probably too young to watch them. So I was like more familiar with the franchise. But I feel like the more people I talk to about this franchise, the more people say that this was the only movie they saw or the first movie they saw, or like this seems to be the one that everyone knows, which is odd because it isn't the highest grossing, right? It wasn't the biggest, and it's certainly not the best. Spoiler alert.
What was the biggest? Two was part 2 the highest grossing?
I think 3 was the highest.
Oh,
grossing.
wow.
Yeah, 3 was the highest grossing, and 2 so far in our rankings was the at least the one that's aged the best.
2's the best for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, Harris. You were saying I listened to your episode on the first one, and you were saying how you thought the fight was like so awesome, and it hasn't aged well at all. And to me, this is jumping ahead, but like this movie is basically waiting 2 hours just to see that fight, and then I'm out. Like that's the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that does kind of sum it up. I mean, this is. We can talk about Serial or the NBA or something else for the rest of this podcast. I can sum up this movie in just a sentence of like Jet Li is great and everything else is or bad.
I don't know. I think this movie had some solid set pieces. This movie's all about the set pieces.
I agree, actually,
They got
with that.
first of all, the opening is incredible. I mean, should we just start there? The flamethrower
Yeah, let's
guy?
get into that. Please get into that.
Yeah.
What was his plan?
What was his plan?
Carnage.
What was his motivation? Where was he going? What was his original crime
Just
that started
carnage,
the
dude. It's all I
flamethrowers?
wanted.
How did he think he was going to get out of that
Yeah,
situation?
This might be
What's the end game?
the stupidest opening, not just of this franchise, but of almost any franchise I can think of. Like, what is this guy's deal? And they never address it.
Oh yeah, and about 5 minutes after the scene was over, I realized pretty quickly that scene had nothing to do with the actual plot of the movie, and that upset me.
Because also one of the reasons that it has nothing to do with the actual plot of the movie is because we fast forward like 9 months from that
Almost 9
Yeah,
months.
almost 9 months. That's like that's where they find out that Murtaugh's daughter and Riggs's girlfriend are both pregnant at the same time. They have this conversation while they're being attacked by a flamethrower machine gun body armor guy, and it's mostly conversation. It's mostly them hiding behind a car talking about their lives while this guy burns things with a flamethrower and police cars crash into things nonsensically. And then we cut to 9 months later and they're still fucking talking about the flamethrower guy like it happened yesterday.
But how did they even run into this guy? Like, why were they on this case?
They just happened to be in the right place at the right time constantly. That's their whole gimmick.
And again, what was this guy? What did the flamethrower guy gain from this?
Well, throwing flames.
A whole lot of exposition.
If I'm not mistaken, like that has to be based on the dudes in North Hollywood that robbed the bank with the body armor.
Yeah,
I don't know when that happened, but it has that vibe.
It was around that time.
It's a homage to that North Hollywood shootout, and if I think when did Heat come out? This is right around like within a few years of Heat.
Yeah, 2 or 3
right?
years later, probably.
Yeah,
95,
and that had the same similarities. So that was the North Hollywood shootout where a bunch of guys in body armor robbed a bank with automatic weapons and a lot of body armor, and basically managed to stand in the middle of the street and hold dozens of police at bay just because they couldn't be hurt and had a lot of ammunition and a lot of guns. And that was mirrored in several movies of the period. But yeah, I do think they didn't have flamethrowers.
Or a
and
Walkman,
they were also robbing a bank, so they had like a motive, which are, So the makers of this movie just swapped motive for flamethrower, and they were like, go.
That makes sense a little bit. But you know what bothered me? Did you notice that the opening frame is like a flamethrower going across the screen, like the flame actually being thrown across the screen? But it doesn't start at the top and go to the bottom. Like it just kind of like starts in the middle and goes to like the middle bottom. And I was bothered by that. I don't know if you guys were bothered by that, but I'd like to see like an actual, flame wipe.
I can't say I noticed. I was hoping for a star
That's your
wipe.
nitpick?
They did flames in the last movie. I was hoping for star wipe in this one.
Yeah, well...
Can I jump in with defense of the intro, though? Because, just... They blow up a fucking gas truck for no reason, and it's so
and the gas station.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to see like these big practical explosions and like an actual street set in a movie, basically for nothing. And there's so many explosions in this movie. I was even if they're nonsensical, I was appreciative
and
of it.
so much rain.
Yeah,
a lot of
rain.
LA,
a lot of LA rain. This is the rainiest week in the history of LA.
And only in a Lethal Weapon movie can these two guys not know about their respective family members being pregnant, but the other one does. Riggs didn't know that his own girlfriend is pregnant, and then Murtaugh doesn't know that his daughter is pregnant. But that
the other one,
the other one does.
The other one does.
I also liked the scene a lot better if the flamethrower guy was in some way tied to the plot. But
yes, or tied to anything.
I kind of dig it. I mean, at least in television, I like when like a cold open has nothing to do with the rest of the show. It's just sort of like a cool scene. Like, did you guys ever watch 6 Feet Under?
Yeah, but that a lot of times that had thematic resonance for the rest of the show, or it set some other aspect of the plot in motion because they would. Well,
this is basically just an expository scene that they made. They're like, how can we spice this up? Flamethrower. Yeah.
This is
underwear.
The Game of Thrones sexposition thing, except it's like. What would be a portmanteau of action?
Flame position.
Flame position. Explosion and exposition both start with X, so I can't use that.
I also thought it was stupid that they put Danny Glover in his underwear when he clearly looks younger and younger and younger each time he makes a Lethal Weapon movie, where his most famous line is, "I'm too old for this shit."
I thought that was a flex by Danny Glover. I think he insisted on getting an underwear shot. He was like, you made me wear the girdle in the last one and made fun of how I couldn't fit into my uniform because I'm so fat. And I'm a little trim now, and I've been working out, and I'm taking my shirt off in this one.
He looked good.
That was probably in his contract. I'm taking my shirt off in this one, and you're not graying my hair.
Yeah, they didn't gray his hair in this one.
He looks significantly younger in this movie than he did in the first Lethal Weapon movie, which is hilarious and ridiculous.
He looks younger each time somehow.
Also, Riggs is still doing this shit where he humiliates and endangers his partner for a laugh in
extremely dangerous
circumstances, yeah.
Oh, good old Riggs. Yeah, I mean, that's it about this movie. That's the best part, so thanks for coming, Tim.
No, we have to talk about the fight at least, and then I'll go.
Also, while we're mentioning random shit that just happens to them, after this introductory scene where they run into a flamethrower-wielding guy... Then they go out on the boat to relax and fish, apparently like 9 months later, and almost get run over by the bad guys who actually do have something to do with this movie in a boat because they just happen to be... They're just literally out in the water somewhere, and they almost get run over.
You forget, we enter the scene and they have a shark
Yeah,
on board.
I was
with
about
them.
to say I like the shark in this scene. That's my favorite character.
But
in
they're
this
just
scene.
gonna let it
You know
die.
that would be a CGI shark today.
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
I like that. I paused it just randomly. I had to do something, go to the bathroom or something, and Amazon said the Jaws theme was playing when the giant boat went by, which I thought was strange.
They
did
do a
not
lot
notice
of
that.
that.
You had on
like-
your subtitles.
No. You know when you pause it on Amazon and it gives you all this information,
yeah,
X-ray
trivia.
shit.
X-ray, the X-ray thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mm.
I had the subtitles on, and do we still do the thing we learned?
We could. What did you learn, Colin?
I mean, did you learn something?
You know how when you like honk a horn or knock on a door and you do like da 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 da, it's called
Yeah.
shaving a
Shaving
haircut.
a haircut. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that, and I remembered it when the subtitles parentheses shaved and a haircut when he came driving into the Chinese gangster meetup thing with his car. But he didn't
know
really
how-
do a good job of actually honking out shaving a haircut, and that was kind of presumptuous of the Amazon subtitles. He could have just been honking.
They're attributing something that may not have actually happened. I know that it's called Shaving a Haircut from Roger Rabbit, and that's where you hear.
Because I was alive when that song came out.
But in Roger Rabbit, they've got because it's got
It was about my haircut.
the words in that song are shave and a haircut, 2 bits, and the whole thing is that they walk. When they're trying to find him, he's hidden, and apparently he can't resist saying 2 bits if somebody does a shave and a haircut knock.
Well, that's like if you go to Texas and you're playing hide and seek and you're playing with Texans, and they're hiding and you can't find them. All you have to do is go, the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah, they'll start
That's
clapping
a
and
Pee-wee's
singing.
Big Adventure joke. When she doesn't believe he's in Texas and he says that and everyone claps.
Yep.
And still, there is no basement in the Alamo.
Hey, Colin and Harris.
Howdy, Matt.
I think we need to think of a theme or something. We can't just go into this Patreon commercial like cold and think it's going to be good.
Well, I was ready and you derailed it.
Yeah,
so.
you definitely derailed.
Hey, Colin and Harris, that was your big opening?
How about I pretend that
This is gold. This is solid gold. I mean, if this doesn't convince people to pay $1 a month to listen to us, I don't know what would.
We should just say in the beginning, like, what you're about to hear is Matt, Colin, and Harris's attempt to try to think of a clever commercial for their Patreon page.
What if we go to one of those places where like the first dollar they ever made is like up on the wall, and then one of you steals it off the wall?
That seems very visual to me, Colin. That seems like a thing that won't work on a podcast commercial. Okay, so what are the points that we want to get across?
We want to tell people why they need to subscribe,
Okay.
how much it costs, and what kind of movies we do.
The visual kind.
Yeah, it's all movies that you can look at.
Let's appeal to like people who are lonely.
How big do you think we are in the trucker market?
Oh yeah, those are lonely people.
Long haul truckers.
Yeah,
Okay.
Colin will come with you on your long haul and spoon you when you sleep in the back of your truck.
It's been a long night out on the road on this haul. Sometimes the headlights start to look like friends. You gotta swerve back into your lane and realize your real friends are on License to Watch.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is great. For only $1 a month, you can hear bonus content about Cliffhanger, Twister. What are some of the other ones we did? Hard Boiled was a good one. Scarface was a classic, although we all just sucked Scarface's dick for 2 hours, but it was still
Speaking of sucking dick, we also did Rudy.
Rudy was good.
5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, and that smell.
Smell.
Honestly, I think we just did it. I think we nailed it. We recorded our commercial.
We also forgot to tell people where to go.
Oh, I got this one. The internet.
It's license to watch dot something.
The fuck? Do you not listen to every ad that I put out every?
www.patreon.com/L2W. www.patreon.com/L2W for License to Watch. Exclusive content on the Patreon.
Oh, now this is starting to sound like an ad.
Can we talk about maybe first up just Riggs is Mel Gibson, right? Yeah, Riggs and
Yeah.
Murtaugh. He is so annoying and mean and just a fucking asshole in this movie. And I don't remember.
In every movie.
Okay.
We've
See-
been saying that since Lethal Weapon
Okay.
1.
Okay. Like, he takes Joe Pesci's gun and he's like, oh, I have a license. He's like, oh, whatever. He fucking shucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't he
he's terrible.
point that gun like in his mouth almost in the same scene for no reason? Like, that's your friend, dude.
He's just like, he's like a coked up maniac and he's mean to fucking everybody.
And he's the
horrible.
hero. And this is like this is like when he's older and more well balanced and he's not supposed
Yeah.
to be insane and suicidal anymore. Like in the first movie, he's an asshole, but he's also supposed to be like have PTSD and be mourning his wife and all this other shit. In these movies, he's like a normal guy who's grown up a lot and has changed a lot, and yet still just a complete asshole.
I would argue that he's the nicest in Lethal Weapon 1.
Yeah.
He just gets meaner and like more of an asshole as the movies go. I think he was the worst in Lethal Weapon 3 though. He was
3
like,
was when he points the gun at the jaywalker, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
3 is where he
Yeah,
actually
the
commits
guy
police
jaywalks. They
brutality
decide to
frequently.
harass him because they can, and then he busts out his weapon and starts putting it in the guy's face. And he's like, ha ha ha, I don't know, hilarious.
You know, it's
We
funny
should
you
shoot
mentioned that because
civilians.
like
That'll be fun.
I was at, you know, I
And-
mean, oh, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, it's like I'm sure you guys have mentioned this. I haven't heard your episodes in 2 or 3. Obviously, I don't remember 3 at all. But watching like in this political climate, like a movie where these fucking asshole aggressive detectives are like the hero. You know, Mel Gibson is just like when they're at the Chinese restaurant. Like I understand that these are the bad guys, you know, because I'm watching the movie. But like, oh my god, man, his behavior where he just smashes that fucking ornate like
it's insane.
glass wall.
It's insane. They walk
and he's like making fun of him with the flied lights
Yeah,
thing,
oh
like
my
right to his
god,
face.
man! And fuck all
so
these people
racist.
eating lunch. I'm just gonna set off the sprinklers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's insane. So they go to this restaurant where Uncle Benny, who is a bad guy, and I understand that and I accept it, and this restaurant is his money laundering front or whatever, and that's fine.
But we
they
we
go
also
in without
weren't
a-
shown that. We were just told that by the script.
Right. We just know that according to the cops, who are, you know, obviously very trustworthy and would never lie, even though they, you know, threaten jaywalkers with pistols. But they walk into this Chinese food restaurant and harass this guy without a warrant, smash his very expensive window, and then sets off the sprinklers with like innocent patrons. Like you said, these people are just out having lunch. They're not part of the criminal conspiracy, and yet they are going to be drenched and their meal is going to be ruined because Mel Gibson's just a dick.
There's probably several anniversaries, some birthday gatherings in there, you know,
Really?
like
And
job
just fine,
interviews.
innocent people having the best day they'll have all year, just getting soaked.
Yep.
Terrible. I mean, we're kind of getting plot heavy here. Should I just summarize this plot?
Oh, I definitely think you should.
Yeah, go for
You
it.
should
I
try.
watched this movie a couple of days ago. Yeah, I'm gonna try and fail. This is not gonna be good.
All right, let's see. Where do we go to timer? You ready?
I guess.
All right.
All right. So the movie starts off, and there's a flamethrower guy in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard or wherever, and they kill him. And 9 months later, they're still talking about it, like Harris said. And there's this. They're on a boat, and a Chinese boat comes into the harbor, and they kill everyone except for a family that Danny Glover finds, and he takes them in. A family of Chinese immigrants, and turns out there's a bunch of like Chinese gangsters led by Uncle Benny, who's this really old, nice-looking guy, but he's bad apparently. So then his under guy is Jet Li, who's got a mullet and a rat tail kind of thing going on. And he's really bad. There's a chase at some point, or they're trying to catch these bad guys who escaped from the boat, and he gets away. Jet Li pops up out of nowhere on the roof and kills the guy. They're drug smugglers, or we think, and then we find out that they're money counterfeiters. And God, what else? Oh yeah, so Riggs' girlfriend is pregnant, and Murtaugh's daughter is pregnant, and she's secretly dating Chris Rock, who is another cop in their department. Murtaugh thinks he's gay, which I thought was kind of funny, I guess. And then in the end, they have a big battle, and they both fight Jet Li, and Riggs ends up shooting him underwater, which is impossible.
They in the final scene is the hospital, and they both give birth to their respective babies, and then they take a big family photo, and they treat Leo Getz with respect finally. The end.
Wow, with time
I'm
to
sure
spare.
I forgot a lot of shit.
You left out the Chinese generals, but I'd say if the screenwriter was in this Zoom right now, he would be hard pressed to like work that into his summary. The forefathers and the triad and all that.
Yeah. Yep.
You didn't cover the hostage situation in the house with the house burning down, really?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was kind of a big plot point. Big set
guess.
piece.
That was a
One of
big
your-
set piece.
Yeah.
Good set
Yep.
piece.
Yeah, they really made it look like they burned that house down.
I mean, they probably did. They knew they were not gonna.
I thought you said
Use
you
it
can
again.
go to the Lethal Weapon house, like if you like. It's part of the. It's one of those like things on the star maps or something.
It's
Didn't
on.
you,
No,
didn't you tell
it's-
us that?
It's on a lot. I think it's like
it's on a
No, I
lot.
think he was talking about
yeah.
the other.
In Christmas Vacation, the house that the Yuppies live in next door
Yeah.
is Murtaugh's house.
No way.
Yeah, but that movie was from 1989, so I mean, it's very possible they could have burnt it down. But I mean, it's movies, so they probably
Oh.
really didn't burn it down.
But I thought when you told us that, I thought we had like an address, like we could go drive over there in the valley somewhere.
No,
or
I
something.
think it's on some lot, probably the Warner Brothers lot or something.
Yeah, it's got to be Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Probably. So I think that, like I said, I think Jet Li is the best thing in this movie. And we got to the point where when he in his first scene in Uncle Benny's restaurant, no, it's not even Uncle Benny's restaurant. It's even before that, where he's just like threatening Uncle Benny and not even speaking English. And he doesn't even do anything. And just his presence in the scene is like pretty good. You know, I remember that was like his big breakout. This is his big introduction to American audiences. And obviously they did a good job for a movie that like I said, the series hasn't always had the most impressive fights. I think a lot of them haven't aged well. They really choreographed and shot his fight scenes to really emphasize how big of a threat he was and how good he was. And he's got a good like bad guy look to him, you know, which I don't think he played, you know, when he was in movies in China. I don't think he played the bad guy very often or ever, you know. And I think he definitely did a nice job of being like not just a bad guy, but one with like a little bit of complexity to him.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that, something I thought they should have played up more is that, like, Mel Gibson's Riggs character has, like you said, Harris, he's sort of like cleaned up his act and he's become less of a loose cannon and he's more like straight laced. He's got his haircut finally. He got rid of the mullet, but now we have a villain who has a mullet-ish kind of thing going on, and he's a bit of a lethal weapon. Mm-hmm. Would you say so?
Yeah.
You know, like
With
they
those
should. I thought
kicks?
I thought they should have played into that, and then like.
What you're
Like,
saying is they should have.
Riggs-
There was probably something, you know, maybe that was in the screenplay as subtext and got left off the screen, where, you know, it's a parallel between whoever has the biggest mullet is actually the most dangerous kung fu fighter anywhere.
Is the lethal weapon of the namesake.
That's like the
Yeah.
superpower is get a good mullet, get good at kung fu.
What they should have done was build up to the end fight where Riggs has to like bring back all his martial arts shit that he supposedly like knew, you know, which made him a lethal weapon in the first movie, and he would have this big like epic martial arts fight with Jet Li, calling back to the original fight from the first movie. But I don't know. I feel like they didn't make those callbacks, and
Yeah, they
But this time, Jet Li would win to avenge Gary Busey, and then we'd find out that Gary Busey was his father.
he was the puppet master all along from
Well,
beyond the grave.
Jet Li went on to be in that movie with Enrique Iglesias, did he not? I can be your hero, baby.
That was like that was
Get it?
that was even deeper than it was like a pun that was also a movie title joke, and
It's like a non sequitur. I don't know, something like that.
yeah.
I just wanted to sing, and then the moment I started singing, I was like, "You're not nailing it." So, you know,
I'm glad
that's
you
not
realized it, though. I'm glad you felt the appropriate amount of shame for that singing performance, if not for the pun.
well, apologies to Enrique Iglesias, or Rick Churches, as I like to call him. You get it?
Yes.
You get that one?
I think we got it. Yeah, I think we got it. I think we've had just about enough of it, Colin.
I think we've had enough.
All right, let's talk about some random things. Racist Border Patrol guy. Too racist? I don't know. Did that seem a little much to anybody else?
Are you talking about the jump to conclusions,
That's
Matt
the
guy?
jump to conclusions
Oh,
guy.
that
Yeah.
was him. Guess your
racist.
parents were Native American. That part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did no one else immediately think of the jump to conclusions thing?
No, he looked like Andy Reid to me.
That's good. He does look like Andy Reid. No, I thought the same thing. I was like, we could look him up. Is he in anything else? I think he's just, it's this and Office Space is his, I'm sure he's in a ton of things, but this is pretty much his career.
Yeah, I've seen him
He's
in other
actually
things,
the.
but I've seen him in other things, but the Office Space role is so iconic to me.
We're actually gonna play top 4 with him later, so
Oh, boy.
I hope you guys.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Top 2.
We're not? Oh. Yeah, Tim, we have a game called Top 4 on this show, License to Watch. And
He said he
we-
listened to
I
Lethal Weapon
listen.
1.
I heard
Did
it.
you make it to the
I
end?
didn't. Yeah. I heard the game.
Oh, so you know Top 4. Okay.
I know the game.
Well, I won't explain it. I almost forgot the name of our show.
I actually have my own top
Don't
4
notice that.
where I'm going to ask you guys what you thought the best kill of the movie was, and I got 4 nominees. I don't know if you want to do that now or
Yeah, let's do it.
all
now.
right,
That sounds
fuck it,
fun.
let's do it. I'll weigh in, but after you guys. So we got the flamethrower guy. Yeah,
That was pretty
obviously, I
gnarly.
mean, he gets fucking blasted like a rocket into a 76 gas station.
Yeah.
We got the lawyer who gets hit by a train, which, like the triad way of killing people, I guess.
Is that the guy who gets hit by 2 trains?
No, that's the guy
No,
who.
that's
The assassin. That's the train assassin who gets hoisted on his own petard or whatever. Then there's the house fight guy when they're fighting on the tractor trailer, and Mel Gibson throws him out, and he like sits up on the freeway and gets nailed by a fucking bus.
Yeah.
And then there's, of course, Jet Li, who gets stabbed with a pole and like his intestines wrenched by Mel Gibson.
He gets
And-
lifted up.
Yeah,
by the
right.
pole.
And then shot several times underwater. So those are my 4.
Which you guys are gun nuts. That can't happen, right? You
Yeah,
can't
guns
shoot a
don't
gun
work underwater like that.
I'm
as
at
far
the
as I
bottom.
know.
Yeah, they're the gun nuts.
Well, it depends because there's nothing stopping the firing pin from striking the cap, but you'd think you'd need air. I mean, I know that certain guns do fire underwater, but also, like we covered in a previous episode, when bullets travel through water, they lose their velocity very quickly, which is why when they do ballistic tests,
Yeah.
they shoot it into jello or water or whatever, because bullets don't travel very far in it. So, I guess point blank maybe, but it seems unlikely.
It was just a regular AK-47.
Yeah,
also.
it wasn't like
a
a
special underwater
Yeah.
gun.
But yeah, I doubt that. I
Underwater
think
model.
the rebar
I
probably
don't
would
know-
have done a lot of damage to him.
I don't know if
in the
I
first
take
place.
exception to me and Harris being referred to as the gun nuts. All I did was be from Texas. Okay?
You're from Texas.
It's
Harris is
not-
from a military family.
That yeah, being from Texas qualifies. I just assume that you're packing all the time.
So here's a gun question. How much does a gun cost? Like the one that got thrown off the boat in the beginning of the movie.
They could
'Cause
be
that's
expensive.
a total dick move.
That
Yeah,
one looked very
hundreds.
fancy and probably pricey.
That looked very expensive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it was anywhere between $100 and $350.
No, probably like $700. I would say no.
Yeah,
I
I was
was-
thinking
yeah.
more like that.
Harris,
I was
help me
thinking
out.
more in the $700 to $1,000 range. You can get a good automatic for a few $100s, but that one looked a little top end.
It did
That
have
was a
what, like
piece.
nickel plating or something.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
fancy
okay.
and very large.
I also see Leo Getz buying something nice.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Wait, so those were the 4
Definitely know that
nominees.
He walked in there,
Leo
and the
wants.
guy, the gun store owner was like, "Ooh, here's a sucker. He doesn't know anything. Oh, let me introduce you to this one. It's only, you get that, but what's going to really impress your friends? The
It's tough
platinum model.
to it's tough to resist sales pressure when like half the words you say are okay.
So let's talk about these deaths because I have a clear winner of this. Because it's the only one that while I was watching the movie of the ones you mentioned, it was the only one that I like stopped and was like, "Oh, damn!"
Okay.
And it was the guy on the highway, because that truck hits
one.
him and his body bends in so many different directions at once. I was appalled.
Yeah, he flailed. I think I made a comment. I was like, "Ooh!"
Like
something
limbs started
that.
going backwards, and I don't know what kind of dummy they used to film that and how they cut it together, but it was effective, at least for me. I was like, "Oh shit!"
It's like a deleted scene from Speed.
Yeah,
It really was. Colin, what is your pick?
I'm a
Favorite
sucker for
fatality.
explosions, but my runner-up is definitely the freeway guy, because the freeway guy is just so brutal. But I'm a explosions guy. I like the first one.
Okay.
the guy who rocketeers into the
Yeah, the rocketeer,
gas
yeah,
tank. Yeah,
to the gas station.
It's a great explosion. And Matt, final answer is the highway guy?
I don't know. I Highway Guy was pretty gnarly, but I think I have to also go with Flamethrower Man.
Okay.
Just there's so many like parts to it. You know, they shoot the valve on his tank. He goes flying like the Rocketeer into the bottom of the truck. He's probably dead at that point, but then it explodes, blowing up the truck into the air. Amazing, which detonates the rest of the gas station. Helicopter POV. We're seeing real explosions in the rain. Shit was awesome. Best death of the movie.
well, it was the best explosion in the movie for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, he's pretty dead too.
Tim, what's your take?
Well, I gotta go highway guy because for all the stuff that I hate in this movie, there is some stuff that works, and I hate those fucking guys for burning the house down. So there's like that extra pleasure in watching that guy get nailed by the city bus. So I would give that my Mortal Kombat award for best fatality. So, but we're split.
There's a sound
it's
effect
2-2.
going right there.
Okay, good.
Well, the tie goes to the gas. Get over here.
Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, then we got it. It's the highway guy.
All right.
Well
okay.
served.
Okay. I like how you worked in your appreciation for real estate into your answer. That was nice.
No, it wasn't about the house. It wasn't about the house. It's about the murders, the child murder.
It's about the attempted child murder.
They're killing two unborn children. I don't care about Mel Gibson. Burn him. But,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was about the house.
yeah. No!
I also
I just love houses.
one of my favorite
Property
plot
brothers.
points. One of my favorite plot points of this movie is that they think that Murtaugh, or like the police department thinks that Murtaugh is skimming money, like stealing money
That's one
from
of your
the police.
favorite plot points of this movie.
I love it because the reveal is that his wife is a romance novelist. That's fucking great. I mean, it would have been so much better if they had set this up for like all four movies or like you know.
Yeah.
He just
So here's my issue with this, and it's only this. It's that it's so transparent, the plant and payoff of it. It's like, oh, what's that you're reading, honey? Oh, it's this book by Ebony Clark. Trish gave it to me. Oh, really? It's one of those trashy romance novels that Trish is always reading? Yeah, it's one of those ones. Oh, yeah, this will never come into play later. Why are we even having this conversation? It's like so like methodically set throughout it that if this had been something that if Ebony Clark had been had been mentioned in an earlier movie, I would be like all on board with this. But the fact that it's just something they planted,
it's shoehorned.
Yeah, they shoehorned it right in the beginning of this movie, and they kept it. I do love the actual moment where he's like, Roger, are you boinking Ebony Clark? And he's like, no, Trish is Ebony Clark. He's like, you are boinking Ebony Clark, and he's like so thrilled. He's like, oh yeah, I am. I'm boinking her.
I am. He's very confident after that too. I like the scene where they set it up because it's definitely Rene Russo's scene. Honestly, any scene where an actor has to pretend that someone would, love a character like Riggs is hard work.
It's a lot of acting.
Yeah.
And they still live in the fucking trailer.
Yeah, I love that. It is the trailer with like extensions.
Yeah, it has like
built
an
onto
extension, yeah. Well, thinking about that scene that you brought up where they're talking on the beach and in the house, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you think a lot of this dialogue was just sort of like fluffed up with improv, or is this script like 300 pages long? Because I felt like I'm watching Uncut Gems half the time with how much fucking dialogue is going on and all characters talking and the captain. I mean, that's 5 pages alone of them in the office saying captain to each other. It just added to my annoyance with Mel Gibson's character.
I think the writing on this movie was at times the best of any of them.
That's appalling.
especially Leo Getz and Chris Rock and stuff like that. But I could definitely see Chris Rock's lines being improvised many times.
Yeah, he was doing bits.
Yeah. I don't know.
I will say that a lot of the bits in this movie didn't feel as forced. Like in Lethal Weapon 3, the bits are terrible. They feel so forced, and like we kept saying that like Riggs specifically is like thinks he's funnier than he actually is, and like the whole script felt like that for Lethal Weapon 3. It just thought it was so funny, and it was so not funny. Whereas this movie, it felt a bit more natural. I think the writing was a little bit better. And I don't think there is improvisation, because I feel like if it was, we would notice. Like, these guys are not good.
So this script was written by Channing Gibson. I think this is the first, and no relation to Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I think this is the first of these
and no relation to Channing Frye.
Right, no relation
or
to
Channing
either.
Tatum.
The last two were written by
Or
Jeff
Stockard Channing.
Fry.
The last two were written by Jeffrey Boehm, and so maybe that's part of it. But also, I do know that Richard Donner likes to improv a lot and change scripts on the day and like switch scenes. Like, that's one of the things that Jeffrey Boehm has said about working with Richard Donner on Lethal Weapon 2 and 3, was that he just loves to, like, he'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, what if we do this in this scene, and then just send him off to rewrite it. Or during the scene, he'll just tell the actors, hey, what if we just do this? And all of a sudden they've got to like rewrite the rest of the movie to match the shit that they did in the screen, which sort of drove the screenwriters crazy. But apparently that is part of what Richard Donner does. So I guess it wouldn't shock me if some of the stuff was improv'd.
But, if you know how to work with him, it's a really rewarding process. I mean, Richard Donner comes to you. He says, I want to change something. You come back to him. You say, look, I got the changes for you today. And he looks at it and he says, you know what, that's great. How did you come up with that? And you're just like, it just dawned on me. Richard Donner.
It's like so far that we traveled, and it's not even really a pun, because Dawn isn't his name at all.
This was such a huge setup that I had enough time to like try to figure out where you.
I know, I'm on the edge of my seat, and it led nowhere.
Yeah,
but
very
okay,
shocking.
Everyone was having a good time. Like that was apparent at my expense, But it's interesting
Right.
seeing you guys coming from 3, because you're like, oh, this is such an improvement. You're like refreshed by this, whereas I'm just coming in, ice cold, and I'm like, oh my god, man, some of these scenes, if there's not an explosion or a fist fight, I'm like losing my mind. Although, like I said, despite myself, there was some stuff that I was enjoying. The frog speech was, that had no place in that movie. That was like way too good.
At the end of the frog speech, I'm just like, Joe Pesci is a clearly way too good of an actor to be made to play the character he's been made.
Thank you,
made
Colin.
to play.
I
He's
love-
not getting
I
paid.
love when we 100% agree on something. I came out of that thinking like, wow, the screenwriter should probably be drawn and quartered, and Joe Pesci should be given an Oscar for making this fucking speech work so well. Like, I couldn't believe how well he was doing with such shit material. By the way,
I was literally, my jaw dropped at that scene. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
When he's
way,
like,
we're
I
jumping ahead a little
wanted to like
here,
get up and
listeners,
hug the
but-
TV. I was like, oh my god.
I know. He's like, I wanted it to turn into my mom, and I'm like, God, my heart.
This is the scene that occurs at the very end of the movie where Leo Getz, who is just this punching bag for Riggs the entire thing, and Riggs is dealing with this idea of getting remarried to the woman that he's been living with for years and is about to have a baby with, and is this a betrayal of his dead wife, who's been dead for 20-something years now. And Leo Getz comes and gives him a very moving speech about how he accidentally killed his pet frog as a child and then realized that it was okay to move on.
It sounds so stupid when you say what it
And
is.
it is. It's so stupid. But you really have to see how well Pesci sells it. I would encourage everyone to watch the frog scene just to see what great acting is, because he totally makes it work, despite the fact that no part of that scene should work at all.
It's really good.
It's great.
Wow. Yeah. Also, like earlier in the movie, they're like, "Oh yeah, we should tail this guy," and they're like, "No, that guy will kill us. Let's have Leo do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, they might kill Leo," and
He's
they're
like,
like,
"Yeah."
shrug.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This
Did
same
you-
guy basically
so-
like, causes this huge emotional, like, life-saving awakening.
And that's when they decided
character.
to stop trying to get him killed.
Yeah.
So we had the one major addition to this movie besides Jet Li, obviously, as the villain stopping in, was, and if they ever did a sequel, I'm sure they'd try to get him back because he's part of the family now. Chris Rock. What was your take on Chris Rock?
I love that suit he's wearing in the one with, you know what suit I'm talking about? The
Is
suit where he's in the back seat and they're in the front seat
Yeah.
when they still don't know yet. Oh
Yep.
man, when they drive by Leo and Leo talks to them and they get
And he's
Leo
like, "Hey,
arrested
doesn't he even-
and
he-
Who's the perp?"
assaulted. Yeah.
And then Chris
He says
Rock,
something
and then
about
Chris
his
Rock
suit,
pulls
right?
out his gun and points it directly in his face
Yeah.
as a joke.
Yeah, I love that
I
suit.
thought Chris Rock was necessary. He brought, injected some humor, much needed, like actual humor into the movie. I was trying to think of where he was at in his career at this point.
This
I
is
mean,
like
I know
close
he was
to
on-
peak. This
Yeah,
is
this
like
is
after
peak Chris
SNL when he's like starting to make his own name,
I think this was after his first big stand-up special, so he was huge at this
Yeah.
point, and he'd been an actor for a long. He was in New Jack City like 15 years before this, so
CB4.
He was on SNL for like one season and was in like 3 sketches and was like criminally underused. But after that, like he just made the jump. He just went right to like doing HBO specials. Is that what it
yeah,
was?
I mean his HBO specials were like in the late 90s were,
Killer. Yeah.
yeah, well renowned.
he was the stand-up of that era. But I mean, he was also a working actor throughout that entire period. He started off, he started off in the mid 80s, early 80s, mid 80s. And like I said, he was in New Jack City in
What's that movie where he wants to
91.
buy like one rib or whatever? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember. Is that I'm Gonna Get
he
You,
in
Sucker?
Pootie Tang?
Is it the spoof? I'm the
I'll Google it if you guys keep talking about other stuff.
blaxploitation spoof. I feel like it's I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and that's one of his first big. That was one of his first big roles. But yeah, he was in CB4. He was in Living Color for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Really?
And then he was just constantly doing TV stuff. So
It's I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. You're right.
yeah. So yeah, he was in a lot of things. But this was, I guess, his biggest movie role outside of his,
And I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker was made in 1988. So yeah, he was seasoned
He'd been around
in the industry.
I just couldn't believe when his first scene in this, where he's talking about like how angry crime makes him and how this guy just got murdered and he's just trying to get home to his family and blah blah blah. I was like, what is this? What is this character? This is way too much. What is going on here? And
Yeah, the floor, right? Sitting on the floor, that whole thing.
yeah, it just got like, and luckily he settled into it a little bit. It was like, they don't do him any favors by introducing him as this guy who's trying way too hard and freaking out the heroes of the movie.
It also what about the scene where him and Leo finally get along?
Because they're doing
they're talking about how they
with the
fuck
cell
you
phone
with
bit.
the cell phones.
Fuck
Yes.
you with the cell phone.
That's probably the best part for both of them.
Yeah,
Comedically,
Do you think it was ever discussed to do a spin-off with the two of them?
oh, that'd be so.
That would have
good.
been funny.
Nowadays, absolutely, man.
They could have called it Butters and Gets.
In the LW shared universe,
Yeah,
Oh my
Butters and
God.
Gets, Private
that,
Eyes.
that'd be one of the shows.
Well, now we know what we can pitch when we're going out pitching our show ideas.
And they fuck you with the cell phones. Yeah, that's right. They fuck you with the cell phones.
Whose voice was
wasn't
who
good.
in that?
I don't know. I needed to practice. I thought I could just do that.
No, you can't just
on
wing
the
that.
spot. I don't got the voices for that. Damn it.
Yeah, but I thought
And
they
I
were
couldn't
both
sing earlier. What the fuck is happening here?
they were
it's
both
like, it's
better than
almost
I
like,
remember them.
Okay.
Speaking of like comedy in general in this movie, I will say like I'm at my parents' house right now in Connecticut, and so I watched it with my parents. I said I was gonna watch it for this movie, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll watch." And like, man, the comedy was killing with my dad.
Well, this has been our running joke, is that all of the humor in these movies are just dad jokes.
Oh, man,
Like
he
slightly racist dad jokes.
He was loving it.
Did he
What did
slap
he
his
laugh
knee
the
at any
hardest
point?
at?
Yeah.
Oh man, what did he laugh the hard? There were a few like a
real
lot of
belly
the
laughs?
Dan Glover and like the yelling and the a lot of the Joe Pesci. They're big Joe Pesci fans. So a lot of his
I
shit.
mean, that was the funniest stuff. I feel like at this stage everyone might groan a little bit at the kind of the hackneyed Asian jokes, but
Oh,
I remember
yeah,
when
absolutely.
when I watched that I remember watching it in like this is like just after I graduated from high school, I guess. And I remember watching this with friends and thinking it was all very funny and not offensive at all. And now I can't, every time every joke I was like, oh guys, this is just lazy. Yeah. This is just lazy and racist.
I actually just I just remembered the answer to what you asked me. What got the biggest laugh? And it was honestly the Rene Russo in the hospital at the end, like when she grabs the woman's IV and is dragging her down the hall.
Yeah.
That got both of them just side splitting.
That actually, when it was like, when he smells the poo and he's like, did somebody poo or whatever it is, and she's like, I was going to the bathroom and she grabbed me.
Yeah. That's the one.
I actually laughed pretty hard at that.
Yeah.
That
It was good.
line, even though that scene is totally extraneous and way too long.
I mean, the movie's it's 20 minutes after Jet Li has died at this point.
Yeah,
The
and they're
movie's
still,
been over
they're
for a long
resolving the
time.
pregnancy and the marriage issue, and I'm like, who cares? Just take the family photo so we can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, buy the Kodak from the vending machine.
Yeah, they can't just have somebody have a camera. And why does everything have to be a big process with you people? Just end the goddamn movie.
It was like a commercial for fucking Kodak vending machines.
It probably was. That's
probably
probably why they had
was.
to do that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have a question. One of the funniest scenes to me is when Chris Rock is in the car with Riggs and Murtaugh, and Murtaugh thinks Chris Rock is gay, and Chris Rock is saying, I want to come over on Christmas or whatever, and spend time on the holidays and stuff like that. Would that scene be written the same way if it was in a movie today? And was anyone else? I thought it was funny. I was laughing at that scene.
Yeah, it was good.
I did too.
I
I actually think a lot of that was less offensive than I was prepared for it to build up to. There was like Murtaugh's like, oh, I don't want to sit next to this fucking guy. He like goes to sit in the back seat. But like, as far as the dialogue where he's like, hey, you can do whatever you want. I just, why would we get together on holidays? Yeah, that was funny. I was.
Yeah, I think it was surprising how not offensive it was for like clearly playing off some mild homophobia. They didn't ever take it too far, and it was certainly a really funny conceit, like that idea of a comic misunderstanding there, that they kind of I kind of would like to see that as a comedy. Just the whole movie is the guy thinks that the other dude's in love with him and really is just sucking up because he's actually his secret son-in-law.
It's actually one of the least vicious pranks that Riggs ever does.
It's one of the few that doesn't actually threaten anybody's life.
Yeah.
I read that Chris Rock's character actually was written as a gay. They wanted a gay character who was like going to hit on Murtaugh, but then in the last like iteration of the script, they changed it so that he was Rianne's like secret lover or whatever. But they kept like a lot of the gay jokes that they had, so it was kind of baked in from the beginning.
Okay.
They had such high quality gay jokes they couldn't let him go.
Couldn't let him go.
Does Joe Pesci wear that stupid hat for the whole movie? Does he ever take it off?
No, it's on. Yeah, it's whole movie.
I think
Whole
because
movie.
he's in private eye mode, he's wearing the hat. It's like the same way they dyed his hair in the second one, or in the second one that he was in the third one.
Yeah, he's like bleach
so he's
blonde, right? See,
got a different look in every movie.
I couldn't remember him in any of the movies.
I think it's funny that Chris Rock doesn't just play Rianne's secret lover. He plays her secret husband. Like they actually are married, which this only could be like a elaborate movie plot device. It would never happen in real life that they would. He hates the idea of her marrying a cop so much that she would secretly elope and marry a guy and have his baby and not want to tell her father until the baby's born. Like that just.
And does she still live at home?
Yeah, I didn't get it. Like, where are they?
think
Like, what
so.
is this? And she still kisses Riggs on the mouth every time they kiss.
Oh yeah, that threw me.
I don't even know what to say about
loves him.
that.
According to Lethal Weapon 1, she loved him then. She loves him always.
And this movie is
Yeah, I
obsessed
guess, and the
with
family
the
probably all still bathes together too, but it's just very strange. It's not normal.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Danny Glover in a bathtub in this movie. I don't know.
You saw him naked with wet boxers plastered to his ass.
Yeah, that's better than bathtub, Colin.
It is almost.
Not
That was
enough.
for me.
Not
Speaking
far
of
enough.
beefcake, did you guys notice when they have that one scene in the locker room?
Yes,
And there is a
yes.
huge dude who walks through.
Fucking
like, a
Brock
huge,
Lesnar.
like, there's a guy who's like so swole, like just so ridiculously jacked. I was like,
That was my cameo.
I rewound it and I was like, what is there's no they're not going to comment on this. This isn't part of the like. I'm not supposed to be distracted by this guy.
You
I
rewound
know
it.
exactly what you're talking about. It's
I
like the
wanted to
locker room
see
in
it
any
again.
given Sunday with a bunch of
I
football
thought
players.
I was maybe losing my mind. I was like, there's no way this guy was as ripped as he looked in that brief. And no, he was bigger. He was actually bigger.
No comment on it.
Yeah.
I just accepted that that's what was in the locker
They
room.
just live in a
It's
world
that-
where Muscle Beach dudes just strut through
It's
the.
that thing of like, did you guys ever see Last Action Hero?
Yeah.
When the little kid is like, look around. And he's like, even the extras are gorgeous. Like
This is
every
Los
woman
Angeles.
is gorgeous. Yeah. And this is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That's the answer. It's Los Angeles. That's what
I
even
guess.
the male extras look like.
I guess. Yeah, like totally waxed, cut, and just huge, giant.
Oh man.
Hey, am I the only one who? So just tell me, because we talked about Chris Rock's suit, but am I the only one who feels like I couldn't stop looking at Chris Rock in this movie and thinking he looks like a skinny 50 Cent in this movie? Like,
I
what's
see
the
it a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, now
I
that you
wasn't
say
thinking
it,
about
I-
that until you said
yeah,
it,
now that
but
you say
yeah.
Like, I think there is a 50 Cent movie where he gets all skinny for a role, and I want to do like a side by side of skinny 50 Cent with Chris Rock in this movie, looking like skinny 50 Cent.
They both have like chipmunk mouth. If
Yes.
you guys know what
Yep.
I'm
They got
talking
like
about.
little. They look like they just had
Yeah.
like a couple of teeth removed, and they're padded with gauze or something.
Did anyone else feel like the laughing gas scene was one of the worst in the movie and had potential to be one of the best?
It definitely. I don't think the competition for worst scene in this movie is so stiff. I don't feel like that.
I couldn't make that
measures up
list.
for
That was
me.
too many.
But yeah, but I did think it could have gotten better. I mean, I love when Benny is like talking, like just confessing things about like how he's sleeping with his wife's sister, and how like they eventually start to like Benny and sympathize with him a little bit, and they're enjoying themselves. I was thinking it was really funny, and then it kind of derailed because it starts talking about your baby's having my baby and that whole thing.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I wanted him to snap out of it and be like, "What?" Like,
Right.
It's just that's what I thought was
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
happen.
also, do you guys? I don't know about dental law, but like, if you just go into a fucking dentist's office and complain, they can't just hold you down and start drilling your teeth.
Well, I also think it's funny
That's
that
not real?
The assistant is literally holding his arms while this dentist is drilling Joe Pesci's teeth. Oh yeah, he doesn't have the hat on in that scene, Matt.
I suspect.
Oh, that's right.
My theory to explain this, I'm going to justify this as Colin normally does with things. I'm going to say that the reason they were doing that is because he was causing such a disruption that they had to leave an important patient to come treat him. So then they were just fucking with him. I think they knew full well that there was nothing wrong with his face, but they were like, listen, you're going to be a pain in my ass. I'm going to be a pain in your face. And they pinned him down and drilled the hell out of him. Also, this seems like, I think in the Lethal Weapon world, Chinatown is sort of a lawless nation where they have their own rules and just anything goes. It does seem like this is an insular community that abides by it's like Hasidic Jews in New York. It's like the government stays out of their business and they don't cause trouble.
Okay.
I feel like in the Lethal Weapon world, like the way cops like solve issues is like they're just rude and loud. Like the louder and ruder and like more chaotic they can be, that's how like that's cop work, you know? Like they just bust in, like there's no like covertness, you know, like everything is just like as loud and as shitty as you can.
Riggs's go-to move in, I think, all 4 of these movies, he does it at least once, is to bust into a room full of bad guys and wave a gun and a badge and just be like, "Hey boys, what's up?" and then waiting for them to attack him. You know, like
I mean, that end scene when him and Murtaugh like bust into the warehouse, honking their horn while the deal is going on, and they're like, "Yep, the money's counterfeit." Why didn't anyone just like turn and just kill them? Just shoot
There's only
them,
like
you
5
know?
of
Like,
them there. They didn't bring it back yet.
Yep.
yeah,
And
they
then
never
they
bring
go,
back
and then
up.
when they freak out and start shooting, Riggs says, "Here we go." Like this was part of their plan. Like they expected this the
It is.
entire
He's
time.
got a death
Their plan
wish,
was
I
to
think.
stumble into this thing, get caught in the crossfire, and hopefully survive.
They did call back to, they did another scene where it's like just an exterior shot of a car driving over a bridge, and you just hear Murtaugh like talking with Riggs, and like they're explaining where they're going, what's about to happen. Like it's all just explained in ADR.
Yeah.
They've done that in every movie now.
They
all
really
these.
don't plan these things ahead too well.
The
No, I'm
setup
wondering,
of the climax.
did they just decide, did they do it in an early movie and then decide that this was just part of their style? Or in every movie, did they screen it for people and realize that they left out an important piece of information that had to be fit into a car driving scene?
Going back to the dentist thing, he clearly put something in his mouth. he put some kind of prop in there to make it look like his face was swollen. Once they got him in the chair, they would have seen that there was something in his mouth. Why would they keep going at that point?
I
I thought the prop was after. I thought it was like he was all fucked up.
Yeah, I thought it was after too.
No, when he goes in, he's got something stuffed into his cheek.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe he
man.
stuffed something into his cheek for the pain.
That's what he told them, and they were like, "Well,
Yeah, like tobacco.
what we do here is drill.
Just
That's what
numbing
we
up
do."
yeah, they're like, I come from the drilling school of dentistry. And we only know one way to treat everything.
But back to the Riggs, where they roll up at the end and he's honking the 2 cents and a shave or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, it's like he really does have a death wish. I know there was like his arc is supposed to be like he wants to get married and everything, but he's still just like knocking on death's door this whole time. And it's like, you know, The Shield is like one of my favorite shows. And, you know, when you're saying you just bust in with a badge and a gun, like that was Vic Mackey's whole thing. But he was intimidating. And Rigg is just like going in like, "Hey, what's up, fucko?" And like smiling and laughing and making these stupid fucking jokes. It's just like, man, someone shoot this guy, please.
He's been heavily influenced by the Three Stooges in his
Police work.
in his whole police work, and I didn't see as much of it in this one.
But you know what? It's interesting you say that, because when Jet Li grabbed that dude's cheek and brought him down for the knee in the face on the rooftop.
I'm watching that right
yeah,
now.
my dad said that was very Three Stooges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jet Li was borrowing a lot of Three Stooges moves in this movie.
Mel
He does
Gibson was
reference-
on set that day.
There are no Three Stooges references there. He does say the forefathers are like the Marx Brothers, and he says all the Marx Brothers names. So maybe he's gotten into a
Fucko.
more sophisticated brand of comedy. I don't know. I know that his wardrobe for the first time in 3 movies has actually taken a great leap forward, and he looks like a normal human, sort not like a cop, but like he's wearing like appropriate clothes. I
that
was wondering
same
if Lorna,
shitty
What's
jacket.
he wearing in the
whole
other
movie.
ones?
he's
Cowboy boots.
This is a step
jeans,
up?
And
Yes, this
yeah,
was a
he always
huge
wears
step
cowboy
up.
boots and jeans.
Cowboy boots, jeans, a flannel shirt, and like shitty like windbreakers.
That sounds better than this jacket.
Well, no, this is like this. The only thing that could have made this jacket better is like 8-ball patches on the elbow.
That would have been awesome, man, because I hate this
Listen,
thing.
I feel like that style of jacket has become a staple now. I feel like Tom Cruise wears a jacket like that in every Jack Reacher movie.
He does. That is Jack
Big
Reacher's
Tom Cruise
jacket.
jacket.
Yeah.
And I would just like to point out that in 1998, that jacket was pretty cutting edge. Very dope. Everyone was wearing them.
It would have gone well with my Jinko jeans with the skunk stripe on the side.
Absolutely.
That would have been a
Know
good
it.
fit.
Yes,
Nice.
absolutely.
So we haven't talked about, I think, one of the craziest and dumbest and best and also worst set pieces in the movie. the freeway chase.
Oh, hell yeah.
I guess we should talk about the house fire first, because that chronologically, the house fire leads to the
lead us
freeway
into
chase.
it. Lead us into the freeway.
Yeah, so we've got so this is the first time we kind of see Jet Li in action. We see him kill the guy on the roof, but then we see the Riggs and Murtaugh come home, and they realize in the driveway that that Murtaugh's house has been broken into by bad guys yet again. He really has to get an unlisted address, and Riggs manages to get the drop on the bad guys, and they have him at gunpoint, and then all hell breaks loose. And they get into
a pregnant woman gets kicked in the face.
A pregnant woman gets kicked. Well, first they have this massive fist fight where like Rene Russo, who's pregnant, and Riggs and Murtaugh are all fighting these 4 Chinese guys, and Jet Li is just standing on the staircase watching all the action. And he waits until basically the cops win the fight and they're about to get their guns back, and then he jumps down and disarms them. And not only like the way they do that, for like the first time that we really see him in action. They do some wire work which looks a little cheesy, but most of what they do is fucking awesome. When Riggs grabs the gun and he gets his legs between it and like flips it out of his legs, and then he kicks him in the face, and then
he does like a McTwist with no skateboard,
yeah,
face kick kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then they are all 3 of them, Riggs and Murtaugh and Jet Li, are all pointing guns at each other, and then he sort of just drops his gun, and you think, oh, he's surrendering, and then he like knocks Murtaugh's gun away and pulls Riggs' gun into pieces, and then fucks them both up and knocks them out. And then Rene Russo walks in from kicking a guy's ass in the kitchen, and he doesn't even see her coming. He just backwards kicks her in the face. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's a great way to like, they build the mystique of this character really well, from like he's silent, but you know he must be badass, to like he kills the guy with his bare hands. That's pretty tough. To holy shit, he's like a superhero.
Agreed.
You know what I love about Jet Li in this one? It's almost like kind of a trope thing, but when you have the martial arts guy and he takes down a lot of people without using his hands at all, he's like just using kicks, like only his legs. Wasn't he doing that thing where he's still got his hands behind his back, very proudly showing you, I don't need to use my hands yet. I'm just kicking everyone.
Yeah, he did a thing where he was like dodging punches just by just doing little shoulder shakes.
Yeah. He's holding his like rosary bead garrote thing like the whole time.
Yep.
Isn't that thing like some kind of religious icon type symbol thing or something?
Yeah,
isn't that kind of nonsense that would be his like garrote?
Well, they're Buddhist prayer beads, I think. And but I think the reason that he's hiding his garrote is Buddhist. I mean, I think he's like in disguise as a Buddhist monk, you know? So I think like that's part of his cover. It's how he gets the garrote into the prison scene where he kills a guy with it. Is the prison guards look at it and don't think it's a threat because they think he's just a peaceful monk. But it's the whole imagery with him and the way they shoot and edit his stuff is just really well done.
Totally agree. I mean, I remember in my mind, I haven't seen this movie in at least 10 years, and this is Jet Li's movie in my mind. He's not even in it that much, but he's just, his presence is so well paced and established that, I mean, when you come away from this, he is by far the best part of this movie.
And I remember walking out of the theater with a bunch of people in 1998 and being like, everyone was like, who the fuck is Jet Li? We got to see more Jet Li movies. Like, we went out and watched like Once Upon a Time in China and a bunch of other shit that he did. And then we saw like, what is the one that he did with Bridget Fonda, Kiss of the Dragon? And like he immediately made a couple more movies, and we went and saw them all just because we were like, holy shit, this is the guy from Lethal Weapon 4. You remember him? The only reason that we watched Lethal Weapon 4.
Well, this screenwriter, Channing Gibson, he wrote the DMX one. I can't remember the name. I looked it up earlier. Right? Yeah. I don't remember the movie. I remember the poster where Jet Li's got like tiny sunglasses. But,
Wait, is that the... No, you know what? I was thinking of something else.
Romeo Must Die is the
Romeo
Aaliyah
Must
one.
Die, yes. Yeah.
We're all on the same page.
I've seen that one too,
So anyways, then the bad guys light the house on fire. For some reason, they leave the family in the house. And the idea is to burn them all alive. But they don't pour any accelerant on the actual people. And they just sort of duct tape them together.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like a bunch of people just that are duct taped with their hands behind their backs in a room. First of all, if you have your hands tied behind your back, you can get your hands in front of your back. Like, that's not that, like, everyone's flexible enough to get their legs between their bound hands, I think.
I don't know. Speak for yourself.
But also,
I'd be like, ugh, whatever. I'm gonna die.
also they could go back to back and like help each other by tearing each other's, like, duct tape rips. That it could be I don't know. It seems ridiculous. But what's more ridiculous is that Ping, the youngest child of the stowaway refugee family that they're hiding, somehow
Safety scissors.
somehow comes in with child's safety scissors, and it's a little kid with little tiny fingers and little tiny scissors somehow manages to cut duct tape binding and free everyone, and they all
How
get
do
out
they
in
forget
time.
that guy? They know they're supposed to capture the Hongs.
He's hiding.
But they don't know how many Hongs there are.
Yeah.
I still got
Ridiculous.
pumped when Mel Gibson got his hand free. I was pumped. I'm like, go get these fuckers. You know?
But that's the emotion that they wanted you to feel. Go get these fuckers.
They
And
got me.
then-
They got me.
They did.
Then they radio to the helicopter pilot and say, "Look, we're after 2 black Mercedes SUVs." And the guy's like, "This is LA. Like every fucking car is a black SUV. Like how are we gonna?" Oh, just kidding. There they are. Like he finds them instantly.
I love how they're giving him shit about it. They're like, clearly Riggs, fucking
Yeah.
prankster that he is.
That shouldn't be too hard to find in this town, or whatever the guy says.
Yeah. They're taking a lot of time to bust his balls in an emergency, too.
Well, clearly they mustn't have known how what an emergency it was, but they do find him, and I think that leads us to the most brilliant and also and eventually dumb set piece in the movie, where with the oversized load. So there's a house on a truck, and it's one of those classic oversized load things, and they're basically chasing guys on it. And Mel Gibson decides to sneak into the house, so they don't have their guns because the bad guys took away their guns. So he's going to sneak into the house and then jump from the house to the bad guy car that's driving next to it. And he ends up getting into a fight with one of the bad guys in the house. And then outside of the
He
house,
smashes his window with his bare hands and pulls him into the house.
Yeah.
leaving the passenger
one
to
motion,
take over
right?
the driver's seat.
In one motion.
Yeah.
And then they end up on an upside down table, which why was the table still in the house? I don't know. But they end up on an upside down table surfing down the highway on a piece of plastic tarping, which somehow does not wear away immediately, meaning that it is a pretty significant tarp. At one point, he throws a table leg through a windshield. It's all
just with arm strength.
It's very, very awesome. All of it is very awesome. Very well done.
Wait, you forgot the part when the car goes off the freeway into a building.
No.
Drives
I did not
through
forget
the building.
that part. I was intentionally leaving that part out because I was saying how awesome everything was
Yeah.
until the car.
I like that part. I like.
I like it too.
Off the freeway.
It makes no sense, but I like
It
it.
drives
I like
off
the way
freeway.
those people. In the scene, there's people in the building, and it's not clear what they're doing, but they have to do that thing where, like, oh, a car's coming, let's jump out of the way. And then the way it comes out of the building and lands on a road? I mean, come on.
No, it doesn't land.
How's that?
Colin? It doesn't land on a road. It lands,
lands
on
on the
the
same
same freeway.
It was like a Mario
this is
Kart
a-
shortcut, like just through
Yeah,
the
this
fucking...
is a freeway. This is a freeway that goes directly at a skyscraper and then takes a hard right around the skyscraper and then takes a hard left to go back to where it came from. And so basically they were building a highway, and I guess they couldn't get like eminent domain to erect this building, so they just built it around the building.
It's the 110. It's over in downtown.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And no, I've driven every highway in LA. As have you. This does not exist. And it
That's
couldn't.
that one part of the 110.
There's no.
Harris is constantly for his life on the hunt for that building in LA.
Maybe in
He's like,
Russia.
I
or
moved here for
something,
one
they
reason.
Build highways like this. That is not how it works in America.
It's funny you say that, because I was like, where are they? It looked like they were halfway to Vegas or something. Like the mountains were like right fucking there.
It was Vegas. That's where they shot
No
it.
way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, right outside
you
Vegas.
go.
Yeah.
But this also doesn't exist in Vegas.
We were loving it here. Let me just say, like me and the parents watching this movie, we were loving this whole 10 minutes.
My thing is, as somebody who usually is pretty aware of what's going on and is paying attention, like when I'm walking,
This is what I was.
If somebody's walking in the opposite direction or somebody's coming up behind us and like I'm in a group of people, I'm the one who's always like, hey, everyone move over to the side. I'm the one who's paying attention to shit that's going on in the world, so I'm not in people's way. And I have to say, every time I see a car speeding down a sidewalk or something, I'm like, listen, I'm the most aware person ever. And there's no way I would expect to have to jump out of the way of a vehicle and react quickly enough. And meanwhile, at every movie where a car drives someplace where a car's not supposed to drive, hundreds of people manage to know that car is coming and dive out of the way. Now, just think about any office job you have ever had in your life. I just want you all to think
this
about
happened to me at my
office
last
job
office
you've ever had, and think about one
Pontiac came through.
circumstance where a car flying through the window wouldn't have just run your dumb ass over as you were bitching about that email, or whatever you were doing, looking at your fantasy football league, whatever was going on. You were not expecting to almost be run over and have to dive out of the way of a car, ever.
No, this has happened to me at every office job I've ever worked at. And it's really, the thing is, you get used to the diving out of the way. It's learning to roll out of the dive, because you can get hurt in the dive. And
I mean, this is LA. This sort of thing happens here.
It's oftentimes in the the corporate introduction to the workplace video that they give.
If you're working on floor 13, be aware that the highway leads directly towards that floor, and we have had multiple instances of. So here's my other big. I know we're nitpicking something that's clearly absurd.
I've got a thing. So on this topic of being aware of your surroundings, this is like a 10 or 15 minute scene, and the entire time the truck driver who's driving the big rig with the house attached to it has been in the same lane going the same speed, and 10 or 15 minutes after all of this stuff has happened, a car pulls up next to him, starts screaming at him, trying to flash a badge and saying pull over, and he's like, "No, you're not a real cop."
Meanwhile, there's a fleet of police officers with sirens in his rearview mirror,
and he's still dragging a guy at this point who's like flailing all around the freeway behind him.
He's speeding up. He's like, I gotta outrun these maniacs who are trying to pull me over.
I want to see that spin-off where like that guy is in court and they're like, "Sir, there were 20 police cars with full sirens on behind you. I flashed my badge at you. Like, why didn't you stop?
I gotta make my deliveries on time."
I just want to see a spin-off where it's all about
that house had
I
places
gotta
to be.
deliver this house.
It's like, these people need a home.
If I don't get that, it was only half of the house too. Where was the other half?
Maybe that was the thing. They were like, if they only have half a house, it could rain and cause damage. I need to get the other half of the house there.
I have to get that half a house.
It's raining all the time in
people.
LA now. I need to get this house here quick.
It was like the new edition for Riggs's fucking trailer Frankenstein thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They're just delivering the second half of the Riggs home to the beach.
Hey, let me see that work order. Fuck. Ruined my own home.
That's why it's got to be there on time. He threatened someone with a gun earlier.
Exactly. Fucking
His
asshole.
go-to
What a
move.
bully. Came back and bit him in the ass this time.
I need to. I know we're on the same page mostly, where we all really like this scene, and I have to defend it even further, because like, think about. I'm on record, like I cannot stand the Fast and Furious movies, and one of the reasons is like everyone has to look badass at all times, and there's never any consequences. Like a dude could drive a car down a mountain, but if it's Vin Diesel, like it's totally fine. Whereas in this movie, like, Mel Gibson's getting his ass kicked, like throughout this fucking movie, including in this scene. Like he's pumped with fucking vengeance, and this guy is still landing blows and like kicking his ass in this house. And, like, he's near death, and this Pontiac gets fucked up. And I just, like, really appreciate, in hindsight, looking back to these movies from the 90s where things are getting, like, smashed, and there's real stunts.
Practical effects.
Yeah, practical effects. And the actors, like, don't have it in their contract that they have to look awesome and badass the whole time. Like, they can take a punch and make it look like it hurt and stuff like that. So, yes, the office building... ridiculous. I would have been smashed in my cubicle, but like everything outside of that, this scene rules. This is like one of the 3 scenes that I would rewatch in this movie.
So
you've come to work at Microsoft. You'll notice that from time to time a vehicle will drive through the building at top speed, knocking things out of the way.
Yeah.
You'll need to duck and cover or dive out of the way.
Yeah. Here's my other thing. It's not just the innocent people working in an office building that they might have run over. It's that if you, through some mishap, through some misunderstanding or, terrible error in judgment, accidentally drove your car onto a closed part of a highway and off that closed part of the highway and launched it into the window of an office building and landed it on the floor of that office building, you would stop driving. You would be like, wow, dodged a bullet there. I can't believe we survived driving off a closed highway thing. That should have killed us. Let's just park here and take the elevator down. Instead, they hit the gas and accelerate. And then
Gotta let it ride.
yeah, towards the other side of the
Yeah.
building, which they have no rational reason to expect contains anything but empty space and maybe a parking lot where the employees park or something. Like what are they
Yeah.
like?
And also, there's like 50 people in the way.
Yeah, they at one point look at exactly. There's 50 innocent people in the way, but he looks out the window and he sees that the car is driving parallel to them.
No,
on
Riggs
the
knew that
and he's
highway.
like,
He knew that highway like the back of his hand.
I guess he must have. I don't know. Seems a little reckless to me.
I'm getting a brainstorm. You know how they have the sexual harassment video, and you know how in Driver's Ed they have the video where like the people get in their car wrecks to scare you? What if the sexual harassment video, like when the guy does the sexual harassment, a car just runs him over and brutally slaughters him?
Yep. It's
I think that would resonate. I don't know. Maybe
Gary
this
the
is a
Gro-
bad idea. I'm
Gary the
sorry. I
Groper
don't know
didn't
where I'm
have his
going.
head in a swivel. He was too busy looking down Elise's shirt to notice the car plowing through the office building.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know where.
Just workshop it a little.
Yeah, we can cut
we'll
this
work-
out if you want.
Yeah, we'll work the kinks out of it eventually. That'll be our spin-off podcast.
Have we hit every major beat of this movie?
Except for the final fight. That's the only thing I wanted to break down.
Yeah, let's get down to the final fight.
Yeah.
I love how they set it up. It's like this dock. It's raining yet again.
Great location.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
don't understand exactly what happened to the dock. What destroyed the dock?
It was
what made
old.
parts of it sink?
Natural causes.
Oh,
Okay, so they do the whole the shootout. They broke up the triad trying to buy these criminals from this general. Yada yada. They set it up on the drive there with the ADR, and then Dan Glover shoots at Jet Li, who dodges the bullet, fucking Matrix style, but full speed. The bullet hits his brother, who's one of these one of these triad guys in their pink pajamas. So Jet Li carries his brother down to this dock to die. Mel Gibson and Dan Glover, Murtaugh and Riggs, whatever, they go down. They see that what's happening. They slaughtered this man's brother. They try to convince themselves that they could just pussy out. They're like, oh, whatever. We'll get him next time. We're too old, because they know this guy's gonna fuck them up. And the way it's set up with the lightning and this underground dock and Jet Li standing up, angry with his brother's blood on his hands, and he's like, it's just so fucking good, dude. It's for the last movie, this movie goes on for another 40 minutes, whatever. But this is such a good fucking final fight. It is really worth the previous hour and 45 minutes to me. I'll sit through it for this,
And you get the idea that I also like that I love anytime they sort of mesh fighting styles, and you have Mel Gibson kind of doing his standard Lethal Weapon. He knows martial arts. He's good at this stuff. And he's
used to.
But he's older and he's not really what he used to be. And Danny Glover is just sort of he's the biggest of the three of them and is just kind of using brute force. And Jet Li is just better than both of them. And the two of them together have to sort of summon all their strength and get a little lucky and everything else to beat him. It's a really good fight. It's a well choreographed fight. Everything they did with Jet Li, and I kind of wonder if they had a Hong Kong fight choreographer working with them, or if Jet Li might have done it himself.
Yeah,
because clearly the way they shot and edited everything here and choreographed it was done better than you would expect from a normal Lethal Weapon movie or just Western movie in general.
Also, Danny Glover is finally given something to do in the final fight
Yeah,
of the
because
film.
it's almost always Mel Gibson versus
Is
the
that
most
right?
dangerous bad
Is that
guy.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember obviously the first one with the lawn fight.
Which is
Yeah.
dumb.
And no, I agree.
Well,
It's so boring.
And in the second,
It's funny because it's a running gag that Murtaugh is always the one who has the nasty shit happen to his family. So to him the villain, it becomes like a personal thing, but yet Riggs is always the one to get like the final kill.
Oh, good. I'm glad that they got the
fight.
2-on-1.
Murtaugh always kills the old guy, and then Riggs kills the younger guy. Except in the last movie, where in Lethal Weapon 3, where somehow it makes
just one
makes
guy.
complete sense for Murtaugh to kill the one guy, and Riggs still does it. But
Yeah, so for Tim who didn't watch 3,
There's a
in Lethal
bulldozer,
Weapon
though,
3
right?
Yeah, in
I
Lethal
don't know
Weapon
why I
3,
remember that.
Danny Glover is standing on the left side of the bulldozer in view of both the guy driving the bulldozer, and he can see the guy driving the bulldozer.
With a
and
gun.
has a gun. And he says, Riggs, and throws the gun at him. Hoping he'll catch it and then shoot the guy
through the bulldozer.
bulldozer.
yeah, I feel like we need an overhead to properly explain just how dumb this is. But it's,
So if you look here,
as you can see in Figure A,
I gotta look it up. I'm gonna look it up on
the
YouTube.
left.
But
and still in this one, once again, Riggs does end up killing the bad guy himself with a big assist from Danny Glover, because I don't think he would have been able to machine gun him to death underwater if he didn't have that enormous piece of rebar running through his entire body.
well, he was gonna die. I mean, he was like, what's that guy's fucking name? The grandpa guy that he gives his watch to. I can't think of his name.
Hong.
But yeah, okay, Hong. Yeah. Well, Jet Li. I mean, he's like snuffs that guy's life out in like a second. He just gives him the death claw, and he's doing the same thing to Riggs, right? And then Murtaugh runs him through with
but
this
Riggs
pole.
has a much stronger throat than that other guy
He
did.
does have that strong throat.
He's really
They do
working
throat exercise.
Yeah, the throat exercises. You really have to do it.
When you said the mash of styles, though, I always think of the when Jet Li goes to do that like double kick, and they just catch him and like throw him on his face.
Yep.
It's the whole fight is so raw, and like when they run him through and then lift him up, that's like apocalypto level violence. It's so grisly. And like, man,
Well,
I love
just the
that
fact
shit.
that they run him through and he continues to kick him in the face and
Yeah.
beat him around and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a very good fight scene, and in fact, the shootout before it is pretty good too for what it is. It's where we get like that blend of Chris Rock gets to sacrifice himself to save Murtaugh, and we get the whole Trish's Ebony Clark scene, and and it all kind of just works.
Was pretty
We've
cool.
got the dodged bullet. We've also got the it's a little. I don't know why that shootout starts, because the general who starts the shootout is immediately killed, and he must have suspected that if he started firing on these people, he's standing the closest to them, and he might be in real danger. I think a more strategic. He probably wasn't a very good general, because I think strategically, you might want to back up and like hide behind something before.
wait,
you
he
start shooting,
takes
but
out two of the forefathers though, like
He does. I guess that
headshot, like
I
immediately.
guess that was his bottom line, was taking out the forefathers. But
It almost seems like less people would have died if Riggs hadn't driven in there and said that the money was counterfeit.
it almost seems like they actually caused more destruction than was necessary. But yeah, it's a Lethal Weapon movie, so
we also never see the old forefather die.
With the glasses, yeah, you're right.
oh, maybe they're
Yeah.
setting him up for a
right.
sequel.
Maybe.
He must be 108 by now, and
Yeah, you're right.
Just
though.
like Richard Donner.
They just roll in.
We also get some support from two other detectives, the Chinese detective who helps them translate things, and his partner, some guy with long curly hair. What?
Oh, the long curly hair guy
What
was awesome.
is the story?
That's Collins.
Does
I knew
anybody
you would
know
like
the
that guy.
story of the long curly hair guy? Because
That's the Colin role.
I can't believe they let him on the force with that hair. It's so good.
I was
He's like an undercover.
I was thinking, like, that's all I could think was that somebody who made this movie has a Colin in their life, and like the casting director or something was like, oh yeah, this is like a part that anybody could do. Let's just get my buddy, whatever his name is, to do this. And it really is a random.
I was trying to figure it out too, because like I thought, if he's a Vice guy, then yeah, he's like, oh, I'm an undercover. I go up to the guys and I buy drugs from them, whatever. But they aren't Vice guys. They are specific Chinatown cops who specialize in immigration.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
They were like
Yeah,
cracking
so he-
codes and stuff because they're asking
Yeah, how do they
what
work
Benny
for
was
LAPD?
saying.
Question mark. Right?
Yeah, no, this guy's definitely a Chinatown cop somehow. I don't know. Maybe he's the only other guy in the Force who speaks Chinese besides the Chinese guy.
But why do they know so much? They're like intelligence agents, and they're like, just in the LAPD bullpen.
Because they're working the Chinatown beat, man. That's what it is. It's keeping tabs on Uncle Benny and knowing what's up and speaking Chinese. That's what it's all about.
Tim, do you buy this excuse? Are you on board with that explanation?
I just remember that Benny got killed like in a montage or something, right? He just got killed unceremoniously.
Yeah. It
Sure,
was
yeah.
like the Scarface Take It to the Limit montage where they're all counting money and shit, and then
Yeah.
Uncle Benny gets strangled.
I guess I buy the excuse. I mean, he just seemed like he was the Chinese guy's assistant, almost like he was like Googling shit while.
I think once again, like the actor who played Uncle Benny, much like the actor who played the general in the first movie, like he just seemed like such a lovable guy. Like he didn't strike me as villainous at all.
Yeah, I like his glasses.
I could swear I've seen Uncle Benny in like some comedy before.
Hang on a second.
Hamming it up.
I've looked up the man. He is Detective Ng's partner. His name is Tony Keys, and
His real name or his character's name?
his character's name is Detective Ng's partner, and
Okay.
his real name is Tony Keys. He was born in Sacramento, California in 1960. He died in Elk Grove, California in 2008 in an automobile accident. So very sad.
Oh shit.
His birth name is Robert Anthony Guzman.
Okay.
And he was known for this movie and I think a one-off episode role on Nash Bridges and a movie called Salome's Kiss. He was married to a woman named Julie Decker, and
I could see him in shampoo commercials for sure.
it was a one-car accident. He drove off the highway into several trees, apparently.
That's pretty.
Yeah. No other information on Tony Keys. No one can solve the mystery of how Tony Keys got this part and what the fuck he was doing there.
Hey man, R.I.P. We're talking about him.
Yeah.
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 Much love
He's
to
a
Tony
legend now.
Keys for being an important part of this movie, even if it is a baffling mystery to me how that happened.
Nice hair, nice
I like
jacket.
what he did.
Yeah.
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 Do we have any favorite lines from this movie? What's the winner? I know we did best death, but what's the best line? Any zingers?
Yeah, I'm
The
boinking
whole
her.
frog speech.
That's the yeah.
The
Which one?
boinking her.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
boinking
Oh,
her.
boinking her.
Boinker.
Yeah, I'm boinking her.
Yeah.
I like the whole frog speech.
I mean, but is anything about that actually good though? It's not really. There's no good lines. It's just
It's all Pesci, yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
Pesci.
Yeah, the frog speech on paper versus Joe Pesci.
There's so much dialogue in this movie. There's so much dialogue, like just
But it's all exposition too.
yeah, and it's just I can't think of a line. You have
You know
one,
what,
Matt?
you
Did
know
you
what,
have one
for-
locked and loaded?
I don't. I have nothing locked
Well,
and loaded.
the problem with the problem with trying to come up with a line of this is so much of it is just cheap racist Chinese jokes. Like there is a run when they first break into the big meetup at the end and they crash their car in and Riggs starts talking. He condenses so many racist Chinese jokes into such a small section of dialogue that I'm like what is going on here? This is like it's kind of impressive in a terrible way, but I don't think I would say any of those are my favorite quotes.
I like in the beginning when Leo Getz was giving them shit about like the names of the sides of the boat. He's like, aft? Is that a fucking word? Oh, that was good.
That is kind of fun.
I liked that dialogue because his thing is like, they can be just like stupid people, but as soon as they get on a boat, they start thinking like they need to use these fancy words.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's what that's what it's like though. Like you can be like a real piece of shit. You walk on a boat. You think you need to start talking about starboard.
It's not a line of dialogue, but I like the part where they get promoted to captains, which also, I mean,
That part got annoying real quick though.
nothing made sense about that. So they can't have their insurance. The police can't have insurance anymore because Riggs and Murtaugh caused so much damage. So they can't have insurance if they're on the street. So they're going to promote them from sergeants to captains, but they're not going to actually function as captains but they're supposed to be off the street, but they're still going to be detectives working cases. It doesn't, and then they demote them back to sergeants at the end of it.
After they get
to
insurance.
put them back on the street, even after they've caused even more damage and bloodshed. It's all insane. But I did like the part where they were like saluting and handshaking and saluting and handshaking. I thought that was pretty funny.
I just remember that was in the trailer. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's
that
like a
was in the
total
trailer.
trailer.
Well, you got to
moment.
use the best stuff in the trailer. So that's
Oh,
just
speaking
proves
of
my point.
trailer, you know what moment also killed with the parental
With the
crowd
folks.
is the oh, I wish we had a siren right now, and then Dan Glover just starts like
That got a
wailing
laugh
out the
out of
window.
me. Honestly, that might be the best line in the movie. Just Danny Glover
That
yelling out.
big
outside the
trailer
police
line.
car.
I remember it very distinctly.
Did I talk about on an older podcast that when I got my first DVD player, it came with 5 movies, this being one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Also,
I knew it.
6 Days, 7 Nights with Anne Heche
6 Days,
and
7
Harrison
Nights.
Ford.
Classic.
Stepmom, Stargate, the classics.
Stargate was pretty good. We should do Stargate.
Stargate
Yeah,
rules.
we should.
I haven't seen that in forever. I remember that being a pretty good movie though. Love Kurt Russell.
Tim, are you a gate guy?
I don't know.
Are you a gatekeeper?
I don't know that I've seen it in my adult years. It definitely seems like a
Really?
Colin movie. Like if I was gonna,
You're you like Kurt Russell though.
I do. I'm a Russell head.
What's the other guy's name from
You're a Kurt kid.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape?
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
James
think of
Spader.
James
Spader,
Spader.
that's it.
You don't know Spader's name? He's the antagonist in Pretty in Pink. Come on.
He's Ultron.
He is Ultron. He's Robert California in The Office.
All right, are you guys ready to play top 4?
I'm ready to do something else.
All right, yeah. So for this rendition of top 4, I have chosen the illustrious career of one Mr. Chris Rock.
Oh,
All right,
shit.
so Chris Rock, known for many things, but according to IMDb, what are his top 4?
Who's going first?
Who
I
wants
went
to go
first the
first?
last
We'll let
couple times.
We'll let our guests go first. Tim, can you guess any of Chris Rock's classic films?
So we're doing it's just films, right? It's not like stand-up specials.
Sometimes it's other things, but for this particular case, it is just films.
Chris Rock. Maybe top 4, top 5, top 5.
That's it.
That is correct.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Yes.
That's a really good guess.
Top 5 for the top 4.
Good job.
All right, Colin, you're up.
What's that one where he goes to heaven, then he comes back in the body of a white man, is like down to earth or something like that?
Yeah, it's something like
It's
that.
a remake of Heaven Can Wait. We know what it is.
Yeah.
Matt, is he
Is
right?
it that?
No, sorry.
Oh, very sad. I am going to go. This is tough. I feel like I should say Lethal Weapon 4, but I am going to go with another movie with 4 in the title, CB4. Come on, that was
Sorry.
like one of his first breakout roles.
Yeah, that was a good one, but it's too far. It's too old, I
Yeah.
think, for people
Yeah,
to
it's
put
true.
it in there.
That's true.
IMDb top one.
Tim, you're up again.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Dogma.
Sorry.
Damn. That was a
Alright,
big
that's a
risk.
good
It was a big
guess.
swing. Big swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a deep cut.
Oh, I know what the next one I'm going to guess is.
Colin, though, it's Colin's turn.
Oh, shit.
I'm not going to jump in Colin's turn. I'm going to
Are
wait.
you guys
Oh.
after
know what?
this? I'll give you guys a hint.
Let's do I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka, because we talked about
Ooh, that's
that
a pretty good one.
earlier.
Sorry.
Because Colin said my last one was too old, I'm going to go with something a little more modern, a little more popular. I am going to go with Grown Ups. And if it's Grown Ups 2, I swear to God, I will kill somebody.
I would count either, but sorry, that did not please
this is
Mr. Mel
surprising.
Gibson.
All right,
Yeah, all right. Here's
New
a
Jack
hint. I'll
City
give you
then.
guys
What
a
about
hint.
New Jack? That's my guess. I don't need the hint.
Sorry.
Come on.
No.
He's not even in this many movies.
Yeah, seriously, what the fuck?
All right. Here's a hint for each one. Ready? One of them is an animated film.
Ugh.
One of them's an Adam Sandler movie, and one of them is about a fictional thing that eventually was a
I
reality.
said an Adam Sandler movie. I feel like I should get partial credit. Oh my God, is it the
So
one where
wait.
he's like a germ or something? What was that one?
Is the Adam Sandler movie that one that came out on Netflix like 3 years ago, where it's like his daughter's marrying?
No, it's a
daughter?
theatrical. It's
It's
theatrical.
Madagascar is the animated one, right?
Madagascar.
Guessing out of order though.
Sorry. Well, we were all shouting stuff.
Real
Sorry.
faux pas.
It was my turn. Now it's Harris.
Harris was asking. Okay, I'm
My
sorry.
guess is Madagascar.
Sure.
You're gonna give him credit for that?
No. I thought Colin
All
was
right,
right
here's
about
another-
that Adam Sandler one. About that Adam
Here's
Sandler
another
one.
hint. This narrows it down to a few. It's an Adam Sandler sports comedy.
Oh, the
Oh,
longest yard.
Longest Yard.
Yard, baby.
I said it first,
All right.
by the way.
This last one's kind of hard. It's like
gonna
sort of
edit
it's sort of a movie that doesn't exist. It's about the first black president.
Oh yeah. Is it
What?
Commander in Chief or something like that?
It's something like that. It's head of
Oh,
state.
Head of State, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
Oh
what's
my
that
God.
movie where
Yeah.
he plays his own twin, or something?
I think you're thinking
What?
of Gemini Man, and that's Will Smith.
No.
That's very
Or
racist
Fargo.
of you.
Isn't
to
he a
confuse-
twin in
No,
Fargo?
no. Ewan McGregor's a twin in Far. No. Okay, there's a movie where Chris Rock dies, right? He's like an undercover, like special forces guy or something, and then they have to find his twin brother to reply. I've never seen the movie. I'm going off trailers. Matt, you have IMDb up?
I feel like
Yeah,
this
I got it
might
up.
be a made-up movie that you imagined. in a
I
dream.
did not. Look
I
at
mean,
the 90s.
no. To your credit, this sounds awesome, and I wish this
telling you.
movie existed. But I
It is a movie called.
feel like this movie's fake. I feel like it's just.
Yeah, I don't
it's like
know.
that
I'm not
movie where
seeing it.
Sinbad plays a genie. You think it's
Bad
real, but
Company. It's called Bad Company
Bad
from
Company,
2002.
there it
oh
is,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I do
That's what
remember
that movie's about.
God damn.
And Harris, you were thinking of Osmosis Jones.
Oh yeah, Osmosis Jones is the animated movie I was thinking of. Wow, Chris Rock has been in so many movies that nobody should remember.
Bad Company is a Joel Schumacher, and it
That's
didn't
right.
get good reviews.
Oh, also he was
I
in
wanna
Death
watch
at a
it now.
Funeral, a remake of a British movie that also wasn't that great. Wow, he's got a long and illustrious career of not being in great movies. And I can't believe Lethal Weapon 4 wasn't in this because it seems cut out for the IMDb page, top 4.
Totally.
Well.
All right, let's rate this sucker. Who wants to go first? I could go first. I don't think I've gone first in a while.
Because you always prompt it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I enjoyed this movie for the most part. I thought it was well made. I thought they eliminated a lot of the cheese that the previous movie had, the cheese factor. However, this movie still retained some cheese crumbs.
Curd.
Curds, yeah. I enjoyed the set pieces. A lot of the comedy worked for me more so than the last movie, at least. And yeah, I like the final fight. I like the way they wrapped it up. I did feel like the villains were sort of inconsequential to like the rest of the meat of the movie, which is basically just them like doing their thing and then wrapping it up and having babies and whatnot. But that aside, I mean, I think it was still pretty enjoyable for a send off movie. And I feel like it's a good swan song for this series. So having said all that, I didn't really have too much that I didn't like. I mean, maybe in the middle it like sort of dragged a little bit, and I mean, I don't know. That's it. It was borderline racist at times. But so I think this is right on par for me. I don't think it's as I gave Lethal Weapon 2 a 7, and I gave Lethal Weapon 1 a 6. I would say this is on par with the first one. I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I think I'm going to give my first half credit point. I gave it a 6.5 Timothy Dolphins.
I mean, this is so hard when we have to average those things, and you know that that's annoying when the guests do it. Don't you start doing it. 6.5.
I had to. I was left.
Well,
with
we're
no
going to round that
choice.
up to a 7.
I don't care about that. I wish we could use more fractions.
It's annoying. All right.
I love fractions.
So don't use a
Remember in
half, you're
elementary
telling me.
school
All right,
when-
Colin, you go next then, since you love
when
fractions
you
so
learn
much.
fractions. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna probably give it a score. I like this one better than the third one. I thought it was funnier. I also see this as definitely the realization of the trajectory of not what started in the beginning of the first one, but what started when they decided to make it a franchise. And overall, just now that we're at the end of the franchise, it's super noticeable that Riggs is a terrible man that no one should love. And, well, I mean, I don't want to be mean to people. I guess everyone deserves love, right? But he sucks. So anyways, also cops should not just point their guns indiscriminately at whatever they think they should, and they shouldn't just beat people and kill people a lot. I think we can all agree on that. And yeah, so these movies, I don't know. Like, we've all given them a lot of like 6s, 5s, 7s, stuff like that. They're ultimately kind of mediocre, but they excelled at mediocrity, which is fascinating to me. That's something like, personally, I wouldn't say I'm a mediocre person, and I wouldn't say that I excel at mediocrity, but if I have to accept that as praise, then I guess I would have to. But anyways, I'm gonna start wrapping this summary or this this scoring session up because I can.
Jesus.
Well, tell us more about how you're about to start wrapping it up, though. First,
I give it a 6. Timothy Dolphins. I don't know where I was going with that. I thought I was going to talk for a few more minutes, and then I realized that was not a good idea.
Thank you for not doing that. All right, I'll go.
Tim.
Oh,
all right.
Or Tim can go. Tim, you want to go?
What's the scale out of? Is it 10 or 9?
You can go as high as 10.
Okay.
It has been
Why
done.
did I think 9? And you guys gave the first one a 6 only?
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
I did 7.
Yeah, I could tell from the episode that you didn't like it. I didn't hear it.
Me?
I didn't, no, all you guys seem cool on it. I haven't
hasn't
seen
aged
it.
well.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't speak on it. But I remember reading the script and thinking the script was awesome. Like 10 years ago or something. But
It is a pretty
anyway,
good script.
That makes sense.
just for this one, coming in ice cold on the franchise. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty boring. I talked a lot of shit about this movie and how annoying it is and how shitty Riggs is, but I appreciate all the practical effects and the explosions and the stunts, and Jet Li fucking rules. So I would give it, it's a solid 7. I was going to say 6.5, but then I saw Harris get a little ticked. So
No, go ahead and give it a
Testy.
6.5.
I'd round it up.
Scale to be,
I'll round it up to 7.
From 1.4 Timothy Dolphins to 10.8 Timothy Dolphins should just be our scale.
Yeah, I would, I'd watch it again if I had a couple months to cool down.
Tim, you just have to phrase it as the number.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
I give
okay.
it this many Timothy
I give it
Dolphins.
7 Timothy Dolphins.
The sound effect doesn't. We're not controlling that sound effect.
It just
The sound
happens
effect
naturally
happens
when you say
it that
Timothy
way.
It triggers when I say it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's programmed. It's a machine. It's
It's
programmed.
actual dolphins.
It's all AI.
It's their screams.
Yeah, it's actual dolphins.
It's their screams of pain.
They're prodded. Like when the correct phrase is spoken, they are prodded and they make their sound and the music goes. All right, guys, we did it.
No,
We
Harris
came,
didn't
we
give
saw-
Harris did not give his rank.
No, we're done.
Oh, he's been trying for so long to cut me out of this podcast. He finally made his move. This is a coup attempt.
The theme song, Tim's beautiful theme, is playing right now.
This is like a gold-plated turd. There's a lot of like good, really polished, nice-looking stuff that happens. I think that, the practical effects, and there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot to like about this. I don't disagree with a lot of things you guys said, but for me, this is like, for most of the movie, I felt like it was. I think who said that it was? It seemed like what the bad guys were doing was tangential to everything that was happening in the plot. I mean, what the bad guys are doing is the plot of a Lethal Weapon movie. They're trying to stop the bad guys from doing their thing. And this one has so many scenes where it's like exposition about their lives outside of work that I was just bored to tears by. And all I wanted to see was Jet Li come on and be badass again, and it didn't happen nearly often enough. There were some good set pieces. The highway driving stuff before they went through the building was awesome. I don't know. I liked a lot of this movie. It's entertaining. It's super dumb. It's slightly less racist and awful than some of the other ones were. And yet, as a movie, it just isn't as interesting. And also, we didn't even talk about, I mean, we mentioned it, but we didn't really emphasize how much boring shit happens after they kill Jet Li and they go to the hospital and the babies are born and Riggs and Murtaugh, or Riggs and Laura are married, whatever her name is. And like, it's like so fucking long. And then they close it out with a nice song and some pictures of all the cast and crew working together and everything. And that's very cute, but it's like, none of that was necessary. It just seems self-indulgent. This was a slog for me, even though I really loved parts of it. So I penalized this by giving it 5.24 Timothy Dolphins.
Man, I regret my rank. I was giving the Jet Li points. Like Harris talked me down.
Oh no, I don't object to Jet Li points.
Harris talked me down at least a point, because he's right. It goes on forever at the end, for like forever.
You should
man.
never regret your rating, though.
It balances out.
Nothing.
Are you guys friends? No, we're family. Oh God.
Oh yeah, seriously. I should have docked it a second point for that.
It's not just that they say that. It's that they say no. Pause, and all of them in unison while smiling like they're on a fucking drill team
and looking at each
We're
other.
Family.
No, it was like an Olive Garden commercial or
It
something,
was
and then
clearly
that's
the
how it
first
ends.
take too, because they were like trying to time it together, and it was so bad.
It was intense.
Ugh. Can we all just give it a collective ugh? I mean, however many Timothy Dolphins it gets, it also gets a huge ugh.
I'm not. I'd like to edit me into saying 6 Timothy Daltons.
I mean, we don't have to use our namesake anymore. But do we give this movie a license to watch? Is that a thing we still do?
I kind of do, in the sense that I think I gave some movies that I did not give high scores to a license to watch, just because.
I thought it was like we just assume that the movie has a license to watch unless we say don't watch it.
It's funny how I
think that's fair.
We've given up on the license to watch angle of our license to watch podcast.
Yeah, totally.
Well, after Matt tried to steal that license making machine from the DMV, they came down on him pretty hard.
Yeah, we're not allowed to distribute licenses to watch anymore. Sorry, guys. Sorry, fans. When Matt gets out of prison, maybe we'll rehash this. But until then,
good thing they let me zoom in here.
Until then, the licensing press is closed.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, thank you for joining us and being a part of this show. Your music is always the highlight of every episode.
I think the theme song is the best thing that we've done so far, and I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, you're always there whenever I want to make a crazy change to it. We did like a Halloween version, and I've got some other ideas for crazy versions coming up. So
yeah, the Halloween version was sweet. And actually, I always, when I listen to the podcast back, I always listen to it at 1.5 speed, and the theme song works even better then. It's kind of it's
like a club banger.
Okay, crank up the BPM.
It's pretty tight.
I am glad you guys like it, man. I was happy to do this. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Tim, do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you're working on, music or anything else?
No, I'm a recluse right now, man. I'm off the grid.
Do you have do you tweet? Are you a Twitter guy or an Instagrammer?
No, I'm just here for the podcast.
Nice. Simple. Keeping things simple.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, you're the last guest for our Lethal Weapon series, and what that means is you get to bear witness to the unveiling of our next series.
Ooh.
And I'll let Colin take it from here.
All right. Well,
it's Colin's choice.
Colin's choice?
My choice was a little film from 1989 based on an intellectual property that was long revered in cinema and television, as well as
it's like the City Confidential voice. I love this.
as well as paper media. A film that changed many of our lives and changed the course of a young billionaire's life forever. That young billionaire's name, Bruce Wayne. I'm talking about the 1989 Tim Burton directed Batman.
All right.
Wow. So, just to clarify, we will be covering the 4 original Batman movies, starting with 1989's Batman, followed by Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. The last 2 directed by Joel Schumacher, the first 2 directed by Tim Burton. We will talk about the highs and lows of that series, like you've never heard before.
I
We have a lot to look
guarantee it. I will say, riddle me this, Harris, at least twice.
Okay, good.
You could, and there's a lot of like puns in those movies. Holy Rusted Metal, Batman.
Oh yes.
yeah, this is definitely in
It's
Colin's
holy.
wheelhouse.
It's full of holes. Yeah.
Oh man,
I
it's
expect
like
a lot of
Colin's
bad
bread
puns.
and butter, man.
Well, cool. That's it. That's all our goodies. We've got nothing left. Does anyone have anything left? We forgot about anything in this wonderful movie?
I did was like I wanted to write down the puns Colin did, and then we take a poll at the end. But the only one he did was that fucking stupid Richard Donner one.
Yeah, that
So-
was.
Yeah.
What do you mean, fucking stupid, Richard
With
Donner?
that long wind up for a pitch in the dirt.
I thought it was
That's
good.
our call.
Anyway,
We're family.
yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Guys, well, I know how we can go out. We, in unison, we have to say we're not friends. We're family.
Wait, are you guys friends?
No.
No. We're
family.
family. I'm getting too old for this shit.